What's going on, everybody? Erik with Investment. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please make sure you comment, share, like, subscribe, and do all that. All right, let's get into it. All right, so today we're gonna talk about 5 things you should do before you even start looking for a house. If you haven't already, please go ahead and watch this video right here because it's basically the same thing but for the mortgage officer edition. In this video, we're gonna talk about the same thing, but again, this is gonna be for the real estate agent edition. I have a good friend. He's a real estate agent in Boston, but he does sell houses around here in Brockton, Massachusetts as well. I call him Joe, but it's Jovonie. I'll link down his information with his Instagram and everything. Now, hopefully he's gonna answer because he doesn't know I'm gonna be calling him right now. So let's try. I'm gonna put him on speaker. And all I'm gonna say is, Joe, tell me 5 things you think that every buyer should do before they even start looking for a house. So let's see what he says. Jovonie.
Hello?
Yo, Joe, what up?
Hey, what's going on, bro?
Hey,
Good,
man.
how you doing?
Good, are you?
Good, man. Just watching basketball. Tired.
You tired? I mean, I see you closing all these houses. You must be tired.
Yeah, it's been a good month, man.
I see you, man. You're doing great. Hey, listen. So, recording this video, okay? So
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
on it right now. And as if it's okay with you, obviously, if you want to be on it.
Yeah.
All right. So 5 things you think that every buyer, anybody that's looking to buy a house should do before they even start thinking about it. 5 things they should do.
5 things every buyer should do before even thinking about.
Yeah, every person.
Well, I'm going to put it in a little bit of an order. I think the
Bet.
first thing you should do is understand and work on your credit. Yeah, so understand and work on your credit. I think the biggest thing is sometimes people feel like they're doing great work on their credit, but they don't understand the impact of certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think really getting an understanding of credit is probably the most important thing.
I agree with that.
Yeah, get some sort of down payment.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a misconception that people think that you have to have, $50,000 to, just to give an example, in order to, pursue a home, and you don't necessarily need to. So if you have some type of savings, some type of significant savings, then I would say have a conversation and begin the process of interviewing realtors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think people should interview realtors and people who would, potential lenders to get an understanding of what the market is asking for of them. So I know a lot of times there are people who are reluctant to move forward because they want to be in a certain period. They want to be in a certain space,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes they don't realize that they're missing out on opportunities. So, for instance, what we're experiencing now is really low rates. So if you're a person that has a deadline in your head that, hey, I want to start in the spring of 2021, but rates might go up, you're literally missing out on an opportunity to save yourself money, and you don't even know it because you haven't made contact with that professional in the real estate industry.
Exactly.
And that's a segue into my next point where, make some type of contact. If you're getting serious about making a purchase of a home, getting in contact with somebody who you think you may want to work with, somebody you trust, begin the interview process.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the right person, whether you're ready or not, the right person will at least give you some type of sound advice
Mm-hmm.
to get you ready. They won't, be dismissive. So never think that you're, wasting somebody's time, or don't ever think that you're asking too many questions. The person that you want to work with in a real estate transaction is the person that is giving you sound advice to prepare you, for your process, even if you're not ready right away.
And like a lot of people may also think that, let's say buyers may also think that they have to, like, say right away pay an agent just to start working with them, which is not, it's not
Right.
true.
Which is not true, right? So a realtor, and even loan originators or lenders, a lot of people are paid once the transaction is complete, and it's a normal part of our job to to work with people ahead of time without necessarily, receiving payment.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, that's, again, when you're selecting your realtor or you're selecting your lender, if you feel like they're making it about money or are insinuating or they're implying that you're wasting their time, that's probably not somebody you want to work with in the future when you are prepared in the near future. So
also, I want to just add to that. A lot of people think that they must only have their own money. Sometimes there's a lot of grants and things going on in the city or even around that can help them with the down payment that they should be looking for. And that's something as well that a lot of real estate agents do know about, that it can help them and guide them through that process.
Exactly. So there's a lot of grants. There's a lot of nonprofit organizations. There are a lot of special programs. And these are some things that, even if you feel like you're at the beginning of stages of getting ready to make a purchase, speaking with one of these professionals can definitely get you in a situation where you can get this information and, be even more prepared than you were already being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other key things that I think this is important,
mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a good idea. This might be, we might break the internet with this one.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
I don't think people should look for homes before they start the process of buying a home. So I don't think people should be looking at Zillow. I don't think people
I agree with that.
should be looking at Redfin, because I think it creates a false sense of what to expect when you're in the market.
And the budget too.
You don't quite understand it. Yeah, exactly. And the budget. The market shifts every 3 to 6 months. So certain things like, if your friend bought a house, 6 months ago, or you saw that a home sold in an area that you're very interested in,
mm-hmm.
A certain time ago, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be your situation.
Exactly.
And so what I see is a lot of people have a misconception of what those things look like. But I do think, to partner with that, though, I do think people should really think strongly about their criteria. So think about what your life is going to look like. You want this home to fit your lifestyle. Think about where you're going to be working. You have children, where your children are going to be going to school when we are able to do that again. Or if you're planning on having more children, are you going to have a pet? Are you going to think about the things that are important to you, the things that are non-negotiables, and really narrow down your criteria of what that home would look like. And one of the things that I do with my clients is I try as much as possible to make sure that when we're looking at homes, yes, we loosely do it, but really we're comparing homes to the criteria, not necessarily home to home.
Yeah, I remember. I remember
you're really
that.
Looking at how closely that home is fitting your criteria. And sometimes real estate or trying to find a home can be like dating. Like you may not get 100% of what you want, but you want to make sure you're getting a high percentage of what you want because you're making a long-term commitment.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very important thing.
What do you tell for, let's say, buyers that want to look at, let's say, 10 plus houses? What do you tell them?
Well, there's not a problem with looking at houses, but you want to make sure you're learning something. You want to make sure you're learning something with every house that you're looking at,
mm-hmm.
right? So if you get to the point, and what I normally see, there's exceptions to every rule, but what I normally see is somebody is looking at over 10 houses, let's say, that means we're not really learning the lessons from homes that we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So with my clients, at least, the first few homes we just go to see because I want to show the client the things that I'm looking for to make sure that they're actually making a solid investment. And of course, the client has interest in that home, which is why we got there in the first place. They like certain things about the way the home looks, but then I show them the things that are more important, the big ticket items, like roofs, and look for things in plumbing and look for things that are indications of foundation. Now, not that I'm licensed as a contractor, but there's certain indications you can see on a home that will let you know that this is a red flag. And so those are the things that we want to pay most attention to. And so every time we're going to look at a home, we want to be learning something new and say, hey, I saw this on pictures and this is how it translated in person. So now when we go see the next home, I've learned from that. I learned that I didn't like that. So let's get that out of the criteria and then move on to something that may fit the criteria. The main thing that you want to do is I try to get my clients to look at homes that they think they want to buy when they see them online, and then seeing it in person is just confirmation of what they already saw in the pictures. Hopefully that makes sense.
No,
so not just looking for the sake of looking, but you have the idea like, okay, this meets the criteria from what I'm looking at. Let me just confirm that is what I think it is, and then now we can move forward and really go after that home.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So here's one thing, and I want to add this to my thought as well. Understanding why you want to buy versus renting is very important. So I will say this about my industry as well. Sometimes I do believe in home ownership, but sometimes renting is the right choice for clients. And so one of the first questions I do when I interview clients or they're interviewing me and we kind of have a conversation is to get a better understanding of why now is the decision to move forward with purchasing. That is a very important thing because again, it's a long-term commitment.
I know people can move and all that, right? Short-term thing. Right. So yep.
And there's certain things relative to the economy that people want to pay attention to that I kind of try to educate my clients as much as possible. So, for instance, we know right now, and I don't know if this is going a little bit too deep than when you want to go, but I'll give you this information.
No, you can tell me anything because I'm gonna link your profile on the video just so if people want to talk to you, they can talk to you directly. Okay.
Okay, that works.
Go ahead.
So one of the biggest things is like even right now, I'm sure many people have heard about mortgage rates and how they're so low at this point. Now, nobody can predict, no professional, nobody can predict where mortgage rates are going to go. But what we can assume is, or we can create an educated guess is, if the mortgage rates right now are at an all-time low, chances are that at some point,
it's going to start going
those
up.
rates have to rise back up because these lenders have to then start making a little bit more money than what they're making right now. And so when that happens, those are things that people who are buying homes need to consider, that the price that you're buying for your home right now may not be the price that the market values it 2 or 3 years from now when we can assume that rates are going to go up. Now, that doesn't mean that your home is going to keep on losing value. I'd like to say it's more like a roller coaster where, things go up and down, and it's about really getting a sense of how you can time that market to benefit you. I think right now when you're taking advantage of these low rates, in my opinion, this is my professional opinion, this should be a long-term strategy at the moment. So this should be something that is, at least a 5-year investment for you. This is my opinion, because we can assume that rates are going to go up fairly soon. Right now you have to think about why the rates are where they are right now. The economy needs to be stimulated somewhat.
Exactly.
So when we're in a situation where things are more regular in terms of the economy, now we can assume that rates are going to go up because we have a healthier overall economy. And when the rates go up, it usually drives home prices down because less people are attracted to the idea of spending more money on what they're borrowing from the lender. But also in Massachusetts, we have a pretty unique market, though I will say that, because there are still areas that are growing. So, and this, I think this is why it's so important for people to speak to a professional. I personally have a background in economics, so I have a bit of understanding of what's happening in the world, what's happening in our region, that will kind of adjust where prices are going to go. So, for instance, it's almost a balancing act. Even though we know that rates are going to, at some point go back up, there may be some room for growth. There may be other things, new developments being built around a home that you might be interested in that may drive your equity up or drive cost in your area up. So it might be a good idea in 5 years, or less than 5 years to sell your home. That is a rare situation, but those are things that need to be factored in as well. And those are things like individuals like myself, real estate professionals, that we can help guide you through. And a a lot of this, again, this is opinions based on our experience. It doesn't mean that we're going to be perfect. We are not going to be perfect, but the experience says a lot, especially with somebody who's, you know, a little bit more tenured, who has seen the market make changes, you know, and has found a way to adjust and still find benefits for their clients in changing markets. And I'll say another piece you know, about the buying versus renting. Yeah, it is. It's like I was saying, just to reiterate that it is a long-term commitment to buy, and nobody should feel rushed to buy. Make sure it's right for you and your family. You know, I think there's, you know, I've heard of clients feeling that, hey, you know, realtors say I should buy. I believe in buying. I believe in having control over your property and the land, you know, so you can make certain decisions. But there is a lot of responsibility with it.
More money.
So just make sure that you have. Yeah. I'm sorry. You said what?
So more now, all the expenses, repairs, you know, things like that. You know.
Yeah, there are expenses, there are repairs, and not to say that it couldn't balance out, because you know there's some cases where rents are just pretty high. And I have a lot of clients that have
just looking to
have
Boston.
actually seen their monthly. Yeah, exactly. I've actually seen people who have seen their monthly mortgage payments and utility expenses be less than what they were paying in rent. So that is a common thing, but it all is. I think it's very important, and I'll add a sixth thing. It's important to be very transparent with the person that you're going to be working with, right? So as a real estate professional or a lender, it's important to be transparent, because we are using our expertise in the industry to work on your behalf. So we can only work off what you tell us. And if there are certain things or a certain number in terms of the payment that you wouldn't be able to afford, or if there are certain things, you know, I don't know, if there's certain things on your credit that might be there that, you know, perhaps it could have been overlooked or something like that, and it may not show up on one credit report, and you know that it's going to be there, that can actually hurt you when it comes to being in the middle of a transaction. So just being prepared to be transparent is another thing that I'd like to add to this list. You have to really trust the people that you work with, because they need to have this information in order to put you in the best position possible. And a lot of times, if you are not transparent, both on the buying and the seller's end, it typically costs you some type of money, right? Because if your rate goes up because there was something on your credit score or your credit report that the lender wasn't aware of, you just cost yourself. When the rate goes up by a point, you're not realizing how significant that amount of money is over the course of the loan.
Yeah, it's insane. It's
crazy.
Over
time, it's insane. Or if there's, you know, I don't know, even in the situation, I know we're talking about home buyers, but if you're a seller and there's something wrong with the property, you know, and it's not disclosed from the agent that's working on your behalf, it's like it has just lost you money. Now a potential buyer has got scared away from that and is not interested in making that purchase.
And the house can sit on the market.
And that time on the market, it sits on the market. The longer it sits on the market, chances are the lower the price is going to be once you actually do get an offer and actually get the home closed on. So transparency and trust are probably the biggest things with a relationship with people when it comes to buying a property or selling a property. It is very important that you work with people that you trust. I cannot stress that enough. And I don't tell that. I tell every single client that I talk to, if I'm the person that you trust, then I'm the person you should work with. There is no offense if I'm not the person you trust, because if you say you trust me and you don't really, then I'm going to give you certain pieces of advice that, you know, you may not be comfortable with. But if you actually do trust in what I'm saying, these pieces of advice that I do give you are going to not only save you money, but get you into your dream home pretty much. And it's a very big transaction, because a lot of times when people are, you know, buying homes, you know, they're dealing with their life savings. You know, chances are, you know, most of us are not going to buy anything as expensive as real estate.
And they may,
you know, some of us are more lucky than,
that could be their only investment, like in their life.
Right, exactly.
You know, their only investment.
Exactly. So it's just very important to work with somebody you trust, so you can be transparent and they need to be transparent with you as well. One thing, and I'll say to us as real estate professionals, because we do this so frequently, sometimes we get caught in this process of, maybe we don't explain ourselves as thoroughly as we could because we forgot what it's like to be in that other person's shoes. And so it's important for us as real estate professionals as well to make sure that we're giving as many details as possible, because this person is, trusting you with pretty much all or most of their money. So it's very important to also, for us to be communicative and make sure that we're being transparent and giving all the information that we can so that they feel comfortable throughout that process. And even though there are things on the background that we just know to do and we don't necessarily, fully talk to our clients about because we know how to manage it, it's important for us to give as many details as we can.
Where do you think the market's gonna go, let's say, in the short term? Let's say if you were to guess, so your professional opinion in the short term, what do you think is gonna happen?
I think if we're talking short term, so within a year or two, I think we're gonna see rates slowly climb, and I think what that's going to mean is that the market is going to stabilize a little bit, and we're going to see, in my opinion, I think we're going to see more leverage go toward buyers. So right now, there's a lot of leverage. I don't want to call it, I know people use the term seller's market, buyer's market.
Yep.
We're in a very unique area. I like to call it a win-win type of market, because if you can, because of these rates, you can afford more homes, but there is a lot of competition. So technically speaking, I would say it's a seller's market because the leverage usually falls with the seller. But I think we're going to see that balance out. And I think in areas like Massachusetts where we're at, I don't think we're going to see any type of quote-unquote market crash. When everybody thinks of market crash, you have to consider the type of resources that the area has. So in the Massachusetts area, we are notorious for having, in the Northeast, we're notorious for having, a great education, great colleges. We have some of the best hospitals. We have a lot of financial institutions. It's rated one of the best metropolitan areas, for people to raise families. So in situations like that, when you're considering all these factors, it's going to make it, unless we're going to see a mass exodus or see a lot of people leaving the Northeast area, we don't really have the type of market that is ripe for a crash. But there will be what we call a correction at some point. There would have to be. And it doesn't mean anything bad. It's just this is the natural development of a real estate industry. It has, it has waves, and we've been in and I'll use this term, a quote-unquote seller's market for some time. So we will see at some point where things kind of balance out, and we'll start to see buyers get back some of that negotiating power. So that's what I see in the near future. One of the things related to, the health crisis, I think we may end up seeing, and this is just my opinion, there are individuals who may, I guess, think twice about multifamily investments.
Okay.
I think that's something that we might see, where because there was a moratorium, or there is a moratorium, that has prevented some people from paying rent. That is at some point it's going to have to affect the people that have investment properties. It may not, but I think if we see too much, and perhaps at some point the government might step in, but if we see too much of that, there hasn't been really, as far as what I've seen, there hasn't really been a plan for any type of relief for the actual homeowners or the landlords. So we might see more multifamilies hit the market probably early 2021. I think we may see that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, especially some evictions right now, if I'm not mistaken, are actually seized. So, and some people...
Yeah, you can't have evictions right now. It's through October, and there's been rumblings that it may be extended. I'm not sure. So we won't know until an announcement is made, but right now it's through October. So right now some landlords are actually not seeing, and not all cases, but some landlords are actually not seeing the income that they relied on in order to sustain this multifamily investment. And at that point, they're going to have to make a decision whether or not, if the government doesn't step in or even lenders may step in and give some type of relief, there's going to be a kind of a
foreclosure,
tough situation,
crisis, something like that. Yeah,
there's going to be a tough decision for some of these landlords to make as to whether or not they want to hold on to these properties or risk potentially losing the properties to foreclosure.
This is gonna be a long video, guys. But there's very good things that basically you covered right now, which is amazing, because you went to a lot of details, and I know that some people that are actually interested in like buying a house right now will actually sit through the entire video and watch everything you just said, and listen to everything you just said, But go ahead and plug in your info, bro.
Yeah, so if you're looking to do, actually you can find me on my website, which is JovonieHouston.com. It's J-O-V as in Victor, O-N-I-E, Houston, like Houston, Texas.com.
I'll put it on the video too.
That's a link to all of my recent transactions, not all of them, but all of my on-market transactions, because I do some off-market transactions. And then also, it will give you a link to all of my social media, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then also you can get my email address there if you're interested in doing any type of business or just have questions. My business number is on there, as well as my email address. And if you have any questions about anything, I'd like to think of myself as I certainly can answer any questions and help out as best as I can.
All right. Bro, thank you so much for doing this.
No problem.
Good night.
I'll talk to you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye. All right, guys. That was 29 minutes. And I'm not sure if I'm going to put everything, but he actually literally went through a lot of details that I wasn't expecting him to go to, which is good because I put it on spot. Now, just so you know, this information that you're getting right now from me, it's something that maybe you should have go out and reach out to a real estate agent to actually get everything. You're getting it right now live, basically, as soon as I upload it. I don't know when I'm going to upload this video, most likely tonight or tomorrow. But today is don't even know. I didn't go to work. I can't remember. I don't know the dates. So please, if you like the content, go ahead and please share, subscribe, comment, and like this video. Let me know what you thought about what Jovonie just went over. Okay, if you want to talk to him, if you want to know about his business and how he deals with everything, if you want him to be your real estate agent here in the Massachusetts area, please go ahead and follow him. I'm gonna link his Instagram, his website, and everything in the description box below. And hopefully you like this video, because I've been thinking about this so long. We were supposed to do this face to face, with everything that's going on with Corona and all that. I don't want to say Corona, but with the virus, this is something that I thought it would be very beneficial for you guys. All right, guys, with that being said, I'm out.